looking at section 1.2, part 2, or continued. Where we left off with our class notes is at the word evaluate. If you hear the word evaluate, typically that would be some sort of direction, and evaluate just means to simplify the problem. So evaluate, you're going to simplify the problem, which means that you are going to replace each variable with the given number. So to evaluate means to simplify the problem. You're going to replace each variable with a given number. So if we look at example 3, evaluating algebraic expressions, it says what is the value of each expression for x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 4? So to evaluate means to simplify something down. They tell us that x is 3 and y is 4, which means everywhere that we see an x, we'll plug in 3, and everywhere we see a y, we'll plug in 4. So I have an x squared, which means that if I take the x out and I plug a 3 in, we're going to look at 3 squared, plus 2 times in place of this x, we have a 3. Now I'm going to use parentheses. Anytime I take a variable out and I replace it with a number, I always use parentheses to remind myself to use the operation of multiplication. From there we have a plus 16. We are dividing by y, which is 4, to the second power. So now if I simplify that down, I'm going right back to my order of operations. Parentheses wise, I have parentheses, but that's just a multiplication, that 2 times 3. So I'm not going to evaluate that because there's nothing inside the parentheses to evaluate. So I check my exponents. I have a 3 to the second power. That means I have a 3 times itself, or 3 times 3. That's going to give us 9. I know a 4 to the second power is a 4 times 4, 4 times itself, which is going to give us a 16. And let's see, while I'm at it, we have a plus sign. I'm going to go ahead and multiply out that 2 times 3, which is going to give us a 6. And then I have a plus, and I have a 16, and a divide by 16. Since that 2 times 3 was in between plus signs, that's why it was okay to go ahead and simplify that down in that step. So next, after we take care of exponents, we have to take care of multiplication or division. We have a division, 16 divided by 16, which will give us 1. We have a 9 plus a 6 plus a 1. And we work that from left to right. So 9 plus 6 gives us 15. 15 plus 1 is going to give us 16. Let's try part B. We have in parentheses an x plus y squared. So again, we're going to take out the variable x and we're going to plug in a 3. We're going to take out the variable y and plug in a 4. And then we have that little squared on the outside. So if I have a 3 plus 4 inside of parentheses, order of operations tells us you have to do the parentheses first. That's going to give us a 7 to the second power. And 7 times itself gives us 49. And example 4. Example 4, evaluating a real-world expression. It says, what is an expression for the spending money you have left over after depositing 1/4 of your wages in savings? Evaluate the expression for weekly wages of $40, $60, $80, and $100. So what is an expression for the spending money you have left after depositing 1/4 of your wages in savings? Well, if I'm putting in 1/4 of my wages, how much of my money do I have left over? If I get rid of 1/4 of my wages, so if I have 100% and I'm taking away 1/4, which would be about 25%, right? 1/4, 25%. That's going to leave us with 75%, or what fraction is 75%? 75 out of 100, which would give us 3/4. If I take away 1/4, I'm left with 3/4. Hopefully that kind of made sense in your head. We are left with 3/4 of the amount of money that we would have had. So how can I write that as an expression? Well, I can take 3/4 of means I'm going to multiply with the amount of money that I have. So the expression I would have would be 3/4 times m. So what is an expression? Here's my expression. Then it says to evaluate the expression. Well, sometimes the easiest way to deal with a list of information is to go ahead and make a table. So if I were to look at, we have 40, we have 60, we have 80, and we have 100. So if I'm taking this expression 3/4 times m, if I take 3/4 and I multiply by 40, well, here's a little fraction work for you. That 40 is really a 40 over 1. You can cross simplify. 4 goes into 40 10 times. So 3 times 10 is going to give us 30. We'd have $30 left over. If I went and I took 3/4 and I multiplied by this time 60, which I'm going to write that as a fraction. I know 4 divides into 60 15 times, and 3 times 15 is going to give us, we'd have $45. If I had 3/4 of 80, 4 goes into 80 20 times. 3 times 20 is going to give us 60. And if I were to have 3/4 multiplied by 100, 4 goes into 125. 3 times 25, we're left with 75. So there's your other set of answers.